Let's try this a second time. What's up, my friend? You got Corey Neese here. So we're going to talk about staying poised and centered in chaos in these challenging times, politically speaking. There's a lot going on in America and maybe your personal life. So I hope that these words bring you some solace and some stability in your life. Because for me personally, it's been crazy. Like, I've been going through things the last few weeks, and a lot of it was self-created, whatever you call it, overthinking, stress, discernment between staying locally and basically just traveling. And I've really been thinking about just traveling, like, not right now, this second, but somewhat soon in the future. And it's funny how life works, how the universe, how God works, is sometimes we are forced into a certain route and it takes away options, so to speak. And that's exactly what happened today. I got some calls from some debt collectors and I made 2 payments back to back today, completely unexpectedly, to clear up some karmic financial debt of my past that I should pay back, and that will require me to stay in my area and work at my new FedEx job. So just some personal story update with you guys who've known me, and that can bring you value because sometimes we run from our problems in life, or sometimes we want to do things right away and we lack that patience. And then life happens to us and it pushes us in the right direction that we're meant to go, the harder direction. So for me, like, I've always really just wanted to travel the country and meet up with people online. And I still want to do that, but realistically, the timing is not the best at the moment. There's so much political chaos, let alone COVID pandemic, is horrible timing. And it's just not the best to be doing that for a lot of reasons, not even just, the health and politics, but a lot of places are shut down. And if you're traveling, you need a place to work with Wi-Fi. You need a McDonald's, you need somewhere once in a while to, stop in. Because I wouldn't be just living out of a hotel every night because that's too expensive. But maybe in the future, when I got a better financial situation, I still want to meet up with you. I still want to meet up with my friends. There's a lot of people I have in mind, or at least a few people. There's a few people I have on the top of my mind that I've been friends with for a few years now. And I feel like in real life, it'd be cool to meet up, hang out, shoot the shit, talk, whatever, talk business, spirituality, whatever, and just have a good time. I feel like that's really important to me, is because one of my top 3 values in life is connection, and that might be for you too. So we can talk about a quick activity to help you gain clarity in these uncertain times. This is something I literally just did moments ago before I went live. And I got this exercise from Brian Tracy. What's going on, Paul? Elijah, Councilman, Matt Smith. What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for joining. So, like I was saying, we're in crazy times. Just a reminder to stay centered, to stay poised. Like, Henry Ford quote, "When everything seems to be going against you, remember that the airplane takes off against the wind, not with it." So in my life right now, I feel like people are against me. People that I know and care about the most are against me. A lot of things kind of are going against me. My past is going against me. My debts, all my debts. Like, I have so much toxic debt. And I have to just take full accountability with it. Like, I made decisions 4 years ago, 3 years ago. and I gotta pay this shit off. I gotta be responsible, and I gotta stick to my schedule, my job that's paying me consistently to take care of this shit. And I'm sharing my story, my personal story, because maybe you need to do that in some area of your life. And it's not always fun, you know? Like, sometimes we have other plans, like we'd rather travel, we'd rather do other things, but that's what being mature, responsible is about. So, anyway, that feels right to me. Like, in my heart, I was really considering taking off in a few weeks, quit my job, traveling the country, and doing all that fun stuff, and meeting up with people. And I could have probably done that, but today, that all changed because of obligations that I have to meet that won't allow me to travel. And I appreciate that so much, man. Yeah, dude, it's all good. Like, I don't have stuff to hide. I'm a person who's made mistakes and will continue to sin and make mistakes, and that's all part of the human experience, you know. And I want to help you guys. I want to share my message, and I'm living my purpose, you know. I want to be fully myself. I want to be completely, fully, utterly, completely myself, and unapologetically myself, right? And I know for me, I'm a messenger. I'm a speaker. I'm a voice giver. That is what I'm meant to be doing on this planet with my time. Part of my time. Now, another big part of my time, you guys won't see a lot of me because I'm going to be grinding at FedEx. I'm going to be in the warehouse. I'm going to be using my physical capability that God has blessed me with to make a lot of money relatively fast with my body, you know, physical labor, that is. And that's what I'm going to be doing. That's what I'm going to be doing to make up for my mistakes in my past and to grind. And, you know, sometimes it's long weeks, boring as hell, and sometimes it's hard. Some of the days you got some big, heavy packages, and it's nonstop. And when you're doing 70 plus hours some weeks like I have, I did a few weeks. One was 70. The next week was 95, which is pretty insane. But I'm blessed that I can even do that. Like, this is my attitude towards life. Like, I'm blessed that I even have the capability to even do that. Because not a lot of people do. And the other fact is, like, a lot of people have to do that all the time just to survive. You know, so it gives me this greater empathy for you and perspective on life. So this is just how I'm always thinking, like every day of my life, even when I'm doing the same old and it's kind of boring and you can relate and you don't want to go into work at 2 o'clock in the morning like I have to. You don't want to show up every day when you're feeling tired and you haven't had a vacation in years and you just want to chill with your friends, but we do it anyway. We do it anyway. And that's what spirituality is about in a practical sense, is you live your purpose, you show the fuck up anyway, because that's what you're here for, is to serve and live for others. And by doing so, you live for yourself in the same way. And it's both ways. Like, ultimately, you live for others and you serve and you have to give, and we learn about this stuff. And by doing so, you create a great life for yourself. And that's what we all want. We all want to have a great life, balance, friendship, plenty of money, health, wellness, energy, prosperity, freedom, all the good things, right? And it's not going to come easy. Like, the journey to these places, the journey to the greatest rewards, not just materially, because actually the greatest rewards are internally. But it's hard, regardless of the path, is it's going to be hard, and you got to know that up front. And so when you're put on this path, when the universe pushes you into the right path where it's hard and challenging, and sometimes it's so hard where, like, lately it's been hard for myself, mentally distraught, emotionally, just like physically I'm feeling tired. Like, it's cold as shit. There's COVID out there every day, and sometimes you're just hanging on by a thread. by a little tiny little thread, and you just always got to keep hanging on. Like, that's the thing. That's the thing, like, no matter what in life, you just can't quit. You can't give in. You can't do suicide. You can't end yourself. You can't just quit all your responsibilities. You got to continue to do your best, to show up, to serve, to give. And when you do that, that's when miracles happen. You know, God's grace will start to work things through you. You know, God will speak for you. People will do things for you. Gifts, money, things will show up and help you in the least expected times. And it's happened to me before, and I hope it happens to you too. And sometimes it's just the ability to keep on going, you know, is enough to keep going in your life, to show up for your kids, to show up for your family, your spouse, your wife, your children. And that's usually enough. And in cases like myself, I don't have my own wife or kids. I don't have my own direct personal family. I got parents, obviously, and I got brothers in that family, but sometimes for us single folks out there, like us single men, it can get lonely, or it can be, I don't want to say harder, but it's a different challenge. It's a different kind of challenge as a single dude versus, like, you got your spouse, your connection that kind of helps pull you through. But you got to call on something else a little bit different when you're by yourself. And, you know, that's there to strengthen you. I'm just there to remind you of your own personal strength, of, you know, persistence and your mental fortitude and what you're capable of. So, anyway, I'm just talking about things I feel will help, things that happened in my life that have been kind of crazy, just to let you guys know what's been going on, give you an update, whatnot. I hope you guys are well. What's going on? Feel free to drop comments too, by the way, guys. And also, I got 3 top values that I do want to actually share with you guys that are in my life. And this is an exercise that you can do for your own life to gain clarity. So for me, I realized what I've lacked a lot in the last several years has been relationships. It's been friendships. It's been that connection. And I've gained so much of that through like work. My old relationship that was for 4 years that is no longer there, and that's something I'm still working on at understanding, really. I mean, it's something that I don't know how long it'll take to understand, but it's something like making peace with and healing from. And yeah, my 3 values now in my life from what I've been through are connection. That's one of them. No order, but connection, purposeful, freedom. And it's not just freedom, because freedom is overused. And it's not like freedom to just do whatever the fuck you want and just, you know what I mean? Like some people have this skewed idea of freedom, and it leads to selfishness. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a purposeful freedom that is like you wake up every day and like you're living your purpose, or you're trying to at least. You might not have clarity around everything like myself. I definitely do not. But I know that I'm a messenger. I know that I'm a speaker. I'm supposed to be doing videos like this. And I used to do this all the time, you know, and, you know, if it weren't for certain conditions, I would be doing this every day on Instagram, Facebook stories, Periscope, and YouTube. But those 4 mediums, I don't have the time or the energy to do that in my life right now with shit that I've been through in my work schedule. I can't do that at the moment. I can only show up maybe once every 4 days. I don't know, once a week, something like that. That's why I'm hopping on now, because I have an off day. I got today, yesterday's off, and then I'll be back on my third shift schedule, and then I'll have to be putting in 2 shifts a day, 10 hours plus a day to move my life ahead. And it's going to be a lot of grind where it's literally sleep, work, sleep, work for weeks and weeks and weeks. And it's probably going to suck. It's going to suck, but I do my best, and I want you guys to really take this in, because I'll tell you, it's hard, man. Sometimes it makes me cry and shit. Like, sometimes it really just does suck. Like, sometimes life sucks, and it's hard when you don't got all the things you want, and not even the essentials, the minimum sometimes. And there's other people out there in way worse situations than, I'm not in a bad situation. I'm in a good situation compared to most people. But I'm saying, like, remember, there's people out there in really awful situations, and it's a reminder, like, to give us empathy, I think, to remind ourselves, like, man, how blessed we are, because sometimes we can get, like, even myself, I can get so caught up in all the things and shit, and at the end of the day, we know what's most important, and I know what's most important, and I do my best to live morally, ethically, doing what's most important. Like, I'm not out here chasing all the wrong things. I know that. I'm not out here chasing all the money and the flash and the status and the whatever you call it. That's not my lifestyle. It's very much different than most 27-year-old men. And I can look myself in the face with integrity and honesty and know that I'm pursuing a higher purpose for my life, at least. And eventually, like, that's the thing, your life will get really good. I do believe that. Like, it will get really good. You'll have all the things, and then you'll have more responsibility from a different level, and your life just evolves from one level to the next to the next. But the thing is, it goes in a certain order, and suck comes before greatness. Like, it sucks first, because you have to be strengthened. You have to become something more. God is trying to make you become something when you go through the grind, when you go through the burden, the pain, the trials, the tribulations. And you think about Christ suffering on the cross. It doesn't matter if you believe if you believe any of that ever happened, but just take it as like a story where this man was persecuted, crucified, carried his cross, and that burden became something so extraordinarily miraculous. And we all have our own cross to carry in our life. We have certain crosses, these burdens, these problems, and they're really all in disguise. They're really blessings in disguise, because the bad things in our life, the things that are like going against us, the things that are the most painful, like the trials, the tribulations in our life, the suffering, all that kind of shit. I'm thinking of all the shit, like some of the shit that I've been through in the last 5 years. Most people will never experience some of the emotional, mental, just stuff, the craziness, some shit I've been through in my childhood, in my past. A lot of people probably go through more of that, but man, I got stories. Like, I'll have to be careful how I share them. But anyway, what I'm saying is they've made me into who I am, like, as a person today. They've helped me become so much stronger in myself, where it sounds arrogant, but like, I'm unstoppable. Like, I feel invincible in a way, because I'm connected to my being. Like, I'm connected to my source within myself. And that's available to you. That's available to all of us, is having that relationship with your beingness, your source, the thing that is part of all of us that can't be touched, that can't be burned, that can't be hurt. And there's that place that exists that's kind of incomprehensible to the human mind, but it's there, whether it's God or the universe, spirit, source, divine, creativity, whatever you call that thing. You gotta feel that and know that for yourself. And that beingness, that energy, is what gets you through anything in life. And that's unconditional love, unconditional acceptance, unconditional understanding of life from a higher consciousness. This is higher consciousness stuff that most people won't talk about. Most people, most people don't get this kind of stuff. And I'm not saying I do completely. Obviously, I don't. But I have some understanding, and I'm always working at it. But you can tell where someone's at by their energy they project. Like, nobody can hide who they really are, right? You might be able to be manipulative or something, but nobody can hide. Yeah, unconditional acceptance. Yeah, it's all like a paradox. But nobody can hide their level of true understanding. So what I'm trying to get at is always seek higher understanding, higher ways, because that's what's the right word? Like, that's what's most unstoppable in your life, whatever you call that belief or that God, that energy, because like people come and go, conditions come and go. That's what I'm getting at. Circumstances are always changing, but this thing that I'm talking about, God or spirit, I don't always like those terms because they're overused. And they have these these negative connotations and all this shit, like God, but it's like a feeling, it's like a knowing. Because ultimately, the highest truth, do you really think they care whether we're calling this thing God or the universe or Buddha or Jesus or Gandhi or what's the other, Krishna or what? Like, do you really think so? Do you really think that high of a being consciousness is so concerned with the label we give in the English language? Like, you got to think about it deeper, and that's a lot of people's problems, is they're so stuck in their words and identities that they miss the point. Like, it's funny. It's so funny in a way. Like, we miss the point. We get stuck on the trivial things when we are supposed to be focused on the core message, which is living the message, trying to be the message. And that's hard. That is so hard. And I've studied this stuff from Eckhart and Deepak and my own contemplation and all kinds of people, and Ram Dass, and meditated and thought and contemplated and reflected. That's so hard to do, like to be all you are fully capable of being, to be this higher awareness, to be Christ-like, to be God-like is virtually impossible. It is such a high standard to live by that I think it's so intimidating for people. It is, it's like intimidating, or it's like so hard to understand. How could that even be? Right? But that's what makes it all what it's about, is because God knows, we're never going to be perfect, but no matter what, we're always loved. No matter what, we're already loved. That's what we are. So, getting connected to these deeper places in our beingness, it's not even the mind, it's beyond the mind. The mind is a tool. The soul is what you are, I believe. The spirit, the one part of you that's part of everything else, connected to everything else. That's what you always want to be in tune with. No matter what condition, circumstances happen in your life, you will always be connected. That's why I feel like, me personally, I'll be okay no matter what for the rest of my life, because I know these things. Like, anything bad could happen to me. Really, really, really bad stuff could happen to me, and I feel like I would be okay to keep moving forward, and I would just be even better to be able to share and inspire with others, encourage them, to live life. Because ultimately that's what life's about. We're here to give. We're here so short temporarily. It's funny how short we're really here. One day you're here, and the next, you're dead. And the funny thing is, like, life and death is really like the same thing. So love fully, live fully, try and be yourself, because guess what? We're here for a short time. I believe the universe, God loves us. You are that thing which loves you. You are love. You are unconditional acceptance, the oxymoron, right? You are these things already. So it's like getting in tune, getting in harmony with that when it does get hard, and it will be hard. But it's like never losing awareness of that stuff, never losing awareness of that higher place. And then when everything is going against you, which it feels like kind of in my life right now, you're still on the path. You're still on the good path, making the good choices, doing your best, giving to others in love and service. That's what I'm doing right now. I don't have to do the video, but I feel like, man, some people could really use this message, and they could really hear it right now. And you could write out a mission statement too. You could do very, very practical things. Obviously, move your life forward, take care of your needs, get therapy, talk to people on the phone. If you need help, like, ask for help. Like, I know people, I see stuff, it makes me sad, it makes me tear up, where you wish you could do more, but sometimes all you can do is pray. Sometimes that's all you can do is pray. And hope for the best for other people. But when you can get help, when you can do something, obviously improve your life. Like, I'm not saying don't improve the conditions. Don't mix up the message. But I'm saying reach for a higher understanding beyond anything conditional in your life. And when you'll know. All right? It's not something you can really explain. But let me share my mission statement, because maybe this will help you. So, everywhere I go, I leave people feeling better than before by being positive, present, and extremely hardworking. That's my first one. And then every day I live my purpose, move closer to my dreams, and encourage others to do the same. And I wrote that in this little booklet that I'm going to carry in my work coat at work. So when I'm in downtime, I got some spiritual nourishment to feed my mind and soul to keep me going. No matter how hard it gets mentally, physically, spiritually, I'll always be able to pull through on every other level. So I hope that these tips helped you guys out tonight. It's called The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra, a pocketbook guide to fulfilling your dreams, 1 hour of wisdom. I bought this at Barnes & Noble today. It was like perfect. It just jumped out at me. It's really small. And it's, a different perspective on spirituality. Different perspective on fulfilling your goals and your dreams, not just through the Grant Cardone hard work, which I get. To me, with all this stuff, as a 27-year-old dude, like, Deepak's like what, 73, and Cardone, you always gotta put the information in books through filters. I think you gotta put it through filters and balance, because you do need to work hard. You need to grind and put in hours, because that's that's the character building session. But yeah, I think what's in here as well is going to be super helpful on a mindset level. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. America, Capitol building, not good. Oh my God. Right. You're welcome. You're welcome, Haiti. Glad that I could help. Trying to think if there's anything else. I think that I said everything, so unless more people hop on, or if you got a question, or anybody wants to drop any comments, or anybody wants to make any replies, replay viewers, But I feel like keeping things in perspective is so important, and seeking higher truths, greater understanding. What do you think? What are your thoughts? Whoever else is on here. I just think that's what always will pull me forward. That's what pulls people. Like, I was looking at this book, Nelson Mandela's Long Walk to Freedom. That dude was in jail for like 27 years. Like, he was in jail the whole length of my life. Like, 27. Thank you for sharing your words. You're very motivational. I agree with you totally. Hey, I really, really appreciate that, Haiti. That means a lot to me. And I appreciate all your tweets and Instagram stories and posts. I could definitely resonate with that. I can see where you're coming from. The whole good, then bad, and then good. Like, that same shit happened to me. I used to be real bad. I got a dark past. And I used to, do things not the best. But then we learn, that's the whole point, right, of all this spirituality, Christianity, self-development is like, how can you have a story if you didn't have a past that was dark, that was messed up, where you went through hell and you made the mistakes and you were the devil or whatever? I don't know. I think that's a big, big part of it, and then we always come to higher understanding. And yeah, I think those are my words too, in a way. Those are like my words. Yes, the hardest part has been releasing guilt and shame and learning to feel worthy again. Yeah, I can relate to that. Definitely the guilt and the shame thing for sure, because you feel that when you do something you think is not, aligned with your being or your nature, your integrity. I can definitely resonate with that. And that's hard, and that's work. That's work we always do. That's work we're always going to have to do for the rest of our lives in some way, shape, or form. And for me too, for me, I've always wondered, I always get into all the philosophy and stuff, and the sin, and looking into things like, what is sin? What constitutes sin? What's not sin? I don't know, that's going down some rabbit holes and stuff. But, we know, sometimes it's really black and white. We know, when we did wrong, we hurt somebody. But other times it's, really confusing. And that's what's caused me a lot of confusion in my life over the years. Sometimes you don't know, is that bad? Was that wrong or something? Or, did I make retribution enough? Did I, whatever? I don't know. It's a huge journey. It's always learning, but that's what having good friends is for. That's what having, good, strong relationships is for, because we help one another. People on social media, people in real life, your friends in real life, your circle, your parents, your mentors, your coaches, your therapists. We're all in this together. And one of the things that gives me peace, which is funny, is actually death. And that sounds so kind of horrible, and I hope that doesn't make people feel horrible, but that's one of the things that gives me so much peace, is thinking about this energy, this God. And dude, for real, one day we are all going to be gone. When we contemplate about people that have passed, if I think about my grandma, my grandpa, or if you just think about a person that lived 120 years ago, who lived in the year 1900, how are they any different than me or you? Putting things in perspective, and the fact that we all were mortal. Physical bodies, minds are mortal. They will pass on, but our soul is what goes on. I did not vote for Trump. But that gives me peace, because I feel some sense of peace, and I don't know if equanimity is the right word, or Deepak Chopra has a lot of good stuff on this as well. He combines a lot of the science and those different perspectives on all of this stuff that gives me some peace and greater understanding of it all. So I don't feel so much shame, getting to the topic about guilt, like feeling the guilt of like just existing as human, like we're just flawed by nature. It's like, how can that be? Like, what's so wrong with me? Like, why do I do these things? Or, like it's hard being human, but that's the curriculum that we all have to take, like Ram Dass would say, or his mentor would say to him. Ram, have you ever tried taking the curriculum? Oh, what's that? Being human. Why don't you just try being human and instead of trying to be a guru, right? Like I'm just trying to be a regular good person, live a good life, and learn a lot. I want to learn a lot about all of this kind of stuff. God, consciousness, spirituality, awareness, mindfulness, meditation, Buddhism, Zen, I don't know. All this kind of stuff. It just really fascinates me. Let alone, obviously, it benefits your life. It really, really helps improve your life when you when you have higher standings about how life works. Like if we get that there's a truth, there's one truth ultimately, and it just is. It doesn't matter what it's called, but whatever that truth is, it is, and in some way, it trickles down through human life and other things, and the more wise we become, the easier our lives becomes, I believe. And when you're content with less and understanding, I think how to just live now in the moment and just do your best from each passing day and each passing moment, like life gets really, really joyfully, or it gets really great. It's really easy to enjoy, even on the grind, even on the hard days, because you're like connected to these truths and you're thinking, man, my life is serving a great purpose. That's what I feel about myself. That's why I got my mission statement. That's why when I go to work, I'm positive as hell, and people are saying that kind of shit, and I get this feedback and this recognition. Not that I do it for that stuff, but I bring this positive energy. And like every day counts. Like you don't have to wait until your life is great when you got 10 G's in the bank and you got the car you want and you got the relationship you want. You don't have to wait for all that stuff. You can just be happy now. You can just be joyful now. You can bring your best, those ideas and things. And I'm just speaking to myself too. That's what I need to do. That's what I'm trying to do. That's what I do at work. And that's what I do now. And I do that as best as I can, even after today, when I spend however much in debt, over 4 figures in debt, and it's like, shit, there goes all that money. Oh well, it's all fun and games. It's just money, right? Like money will always come and go, and when you live your right purpose, eventually, you're going to get wealthy. And when you learn sales and other practical skills and you combine that with your spiritual purpose and you feel happy, regardless of the amount of money you make, then you're really on purpose. Then you got a really good life. Because I think there's so many keys to it all. And most people, be careful who you all follow, because a lot of people, they might have it on the surface, but do they got it in here? This is what's most important. Your internal rewards, whatever you call it, because like on the outside of my world, I don't have much of anything at all. But that's not what's most important. And I know that there's an order to things. Those things will come. That's fine. And the funny thing is too, with like spiritual success, that can happen. You can manifest so much wealth, so fast, because spirit is unlimited. It's so different awareness than like your basic work really hard, wages at this job for 25 years. It's such a different level that like literally everything can just change in a matter of like days or weeks or hours. But you have to be on that path first, sometimes for decades or years, sometimes longer at a time. That's what I think. We're like these unformed diamonds, and it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of pressure and work, like the grindstone, like to make us into something, what the right word is, to make us something more valuable to the planet, because we don't just come here and just have all this knowledge and stuff. I feel like we have perfection within us already, but we have to, in the physical world, in the material world, we still have to figure things out. And that takes time. That takes a long time. But I think it's most important to get your internal world right first, even if all of the external takes forever to show up. That's what I think. Even if it takes how many years to externally show up in your world, you gotta always get your internal compass, your internal rewards right first. But anyway, that's my journey, my story with you guys. Honey Naturals, Burnage. Hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day and week. I will see you guys next time. I'm going to take a break, probably watch TV, take some time off, rest, recover a little bit. And I'll see you guys next time. Stay on the path, stay purposeful, and I will see you guys next time. Take care.